Good Wednesday evening, everybody. I'm Gabe Maynor here for Mississippi Live, tracking the very latest for you on what's happening here in North Mississippi, as well as taking a look at that latest forecast, which let me tell you is getting better. As we look at that temperature change over the past 24 hours, seeing a lot of blue, indicating that those temperatures are gradually cooling off. That's why I wore the blue tie, trying to get in the mood of some cooler temperatures, and that relief will continue to build as we wrap up the work week with those limited rain chances moving in as well. The rain-cooled air, the cooler temperatures behind that front, both of which are going to bring us well below those upper 90s that we were sitting at for the start of the week. And we do have a new Food Truck Friday. Emily, I'll be honest, whenever I saw this headline, I didn't know if it was a new food truck coming on Friday or if it was a food truck event that's happening on Friday. What do you have for us?
Well, the answer to your question is yes and yes. There is going to be a new Food Truck Fun Friday event. Say that 5 times fast, okay? And it is happening in one of our local communities. They're going to be doing kind of like what they do in Tupelo, where the food trucks gather on Friday, and it's just good fun and good food. There's one coming up this Friday you'll definitely want to hear about, but that's not the only truck we are talking about in this broadcast. Talking about a couple fryer trucks and a fire department, kind of a truck theme going on this afternoon, Gabe.
I respect it. I'm excited to hear more about it, Emily, and perhaps maybe head out to one of those events coming up this weekend, but appreciate that and looking forward to hearing much more here in just a few moments. As we look at the first 12, you can see that those rain chances do stick around, going to be 30% coverage by 6. So relatively where we're at right now, 20% by 9, 10% by midnight. So those chances gradually dissipating overnight, but it's going to continue to see the hit or miss chances honestly continue throughout the entirety of the rest of our work week. So as we look outside right now in Pontotoc, not seeing a ton of rainfall, but whenever these clouds get to build a little bit more lift to them, that's where we could get some of those pop-up showers. We'll see that here in just a moment looking out of some of our cameras, but 91 degrees in Pontotoc, we're 95 in Macon, still pretty dry down there in Noxubee County, and those feels like values at 108 degrees. Folks there at Fastnet giving you that view, but I'm sure they're going to be sweating as well looking at this camera because it is just a sweltering forecast for folks down there in Macon and all along portions and along and south of Highway 82. I mean, look at Greenville. We're 93 degrees, feeling like 113. So yes, temperatures have come down, but the heat continues to be the story with those heat advisories and warnings in place in parts of all across here in North Mississippi. Sunflower, LaFleur, Grenada, Carroll, Holmes, Humphreys, Washington, and Bolivar County in that warning. The rest of North Mississippi in an advisory. There you go. But one thing with these advisories and warnings is heading into tomorrow, we should see a lot of those counties start to be lifted from those warnings and advisories. And that's going to be a positive, something that will continue into the latter part of the week as well. Looking at current temperatures for the rest of our North Mississippi locations, 98 Belzona, 95 Greenwood, 95 New Albany, even 90 there towards Iuka and Red Bay. Feels like values in the triple digits, and if you're not in the triple digits, that's that rain-cooled air that we're talking about. We're going to track that out in just a moment. But 115 in Greenville, folks, it is just going to be a miserable forecast. If you do have to get outside, maybe water those plants or mow the lawn, anything that you have planned, do so later on in the day because it is just going to be miserable walking out the door right now. Our Mama Justice Doppler radar showing you that frontal boundary that continues to push south. That's going to push some of that northerly, cooler, drier air into our region, getting more into our Thursday and Friday. With that being said, I do expect this boundary to continue to linger even into our Thursday and Friday forecast, giving you some of these showers, but we're not expecting any severe weather, which is a positive. A large portion of that severe forecast, actually southern Georgia and parts of Florida. So Florida just can't catch a break. Last week had a tropical system. This week, now a severe weather setup. But here in North Mississippi, no severe storms to talk about. But with that being said, a few rumbles of thunder out there towards Clarksdale and Senatobia. Even here in Tupelo, getting a few rumbles as well, or at least a little bit north of there along one of these boundaries. So while Futurecast is a little bit more overdone than what our radar is actually indicating, it is positioning it pretty well with those boundaries in Tupelo and Lee County, I should say, and then off there towards northwest Alabama. But the bulk of the rainfall still out there towards Arkansas and right along the Mississippi River. That's how it'll be even into those overnight hours as well, with those chances sticking right along that boundary. But as we track those overnight forecasts, even those chances start to dissipate out a little bit more. One thing I'll be looking at through this evening and even into 9 and 10 o'clock this evening is where this boundary does sit. Because yes, Thursday 3 a.m. not tracking much activity. If this front lifts even 1 or 2 counties north, then folks along and south of Highway 82 could be a little bit of a different setup. And you see how additional chances will continue to build along that boundary towards 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 o'clock on our Thursday morning. So that's the difference between no rainfall and maybe an inch or two of rainfall getting into those overnight hours. So boundaries should be to our south, but I want to see some consistency into our 9 and 10 o'clock broadcast before I can confidently say that we're going to be pretty dry overnight. But as we look at the next 24, we're going to be dry to start the day, but those additional pop-up chances build in by the afternoon and evening, still sitting around 10 to 20% coverage, so not going to be the case for everybody, but for those that do see some of those chances, it's going to be a brief heavy downpour. In fact, a rumble of thunder can't be ruled out, and that's going to bring some of that rain-cooled air that folks over there in northwest Mississippi are seeing currently. That's going to be what 10 to 20% of us can enjoy tomorrow evening as well. We're going to be tracking what counties can expect those rain chances coming up in the next 60 seconds, as well as looking through the entire rest of your work week for any of those rain chances that remain in place. That coming after our Mississippi Live News, where Emily Leonard shows us all the truck activity going on here in North Mississippi. So stay tuned for more news and weather coming up right after the break. Oh, looks like it's clicked off. Bear with me behind the scenes. So we click back on that, and there we go. Right after the break, we'll see you right back here.
People are like, Bulldog Burger Company. Great burgers. Okay, stop right there. Yes, they make the best burger you ever had. Never smashed, but that's not all. Look at this chicken BLT salad. Just look at it. And a chicken sandwich? No. Come in here. Get closer. It's the chicken sandwich. Wait, where are you taking that? Come back. Oh, that's good.
Growing up in a farming community, I've always been fascinated with the weather. But in 2024, my draw to be a mother became stronger.
So I took a step back from my job until Matt gave me a call. Mississippi Live allows me to be fully present at home while also getting to do my dream job as a broadcast meteorologist.
Wake up with me every weekday morning on Mississippi Live.
Boys and Girls Club of North Mississippi presents Dance Like the Stars 2026, Saturday, August 8th at the Huntington Bank Arena. Floor seating is $50 and general admission seating is $20. All proceeds benefit the Boys and Girls Clubs of North Mississippi. For more information, visit bgcnms.org.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us here on Mississippi Live. I'm Emily Leonard. Like golf, sometimes a low score is a good thing. And that's the case with the Cason Volunteer Fire Department. Their fire rating just went down to an 8. And yes, that is a very good thing. County Fire Coordinator Evan Adams says it's thanks to work between the fire department and the Cason Water Association, which added multiple new hydrants. And the rating is more than just bragging rights. It can lower your insurance premiums, and it means faster, better equipped response when a fire does break out. But Cason isn't stopping there. They have their sights set on getting a 7. But the holdup is water. Supervisors and the fire department are now looking at the fire hydrant situation and what can be done. You can read more on this story in the Monroe Journal. Speaking of volunteer fire departments, Ripley has a brand new engine. Isn't it nice? City, county, and state leaders on hand Thursday as this bad boy rolled in. The Mississippi legislature funded it with a little help from Representative Jody Steverson, whose father served as Ripley's fire chief for almost 20 years. The department holds a Class 6 rating, the best a volunteer fire department can earn, with more than 24 certified firefighters answering about 120 calls a year. And from fire trucks to food trucks, Food Truck Fun Friday, spit that out 5 times fast, is rolling into Amory. The Board of Aldermen approved it last week, a new monthly event through Amory Parks and Rec. You won't want to miss out. It's going to be in Frisco Park, of course, July 31st, 11 to 7. So far, 9 food trucks have already signed up. There's going to be music, games, and more, of course, food. So bring your chair and bring your appetite. Food truck owners, you've got to be licensed with the city to serve. You can call that number right there on the bottom of your screen, 662-256-5721 to apply. Thanks so much for joining us here on Mississippi Live. I'm Emily Leonard. Have a great night.
Hi, I'm Mississippi Live Chief Meteorologist Matt Lawpon. Reserve your St. Jude Dream Home giveaway ticket by July 31st and you'll be eligible to win the house and the early bird prize, a $10,000 gift card to Brooks Grocery. Visit dreamhome.org to reserve your ticket for $100 and help St. Jude Children's Research Hospital continue its life-saving work. Then watch Mississippi Live on October 29th to see who wins the house and the other prizes. Reserve your ticket today.
I'm your retirement fear, but don't be scared. You're still in pre-retirement.
Does that mean I have more time to plan?
Precisely. This is pretirement.org.
This isn't scary. I'm doing it.
Can I ask a few questions?
Yeah, sure.
Do you have any pets?
Yes, we have a dog, but she's little.
Do you have any unlocked guns around the house?
We do have a gun, but it's stored securely, locked in a safe that the kids can't access. Appreciate you asking.
Yeah, of course.
Right now, from the Mississippi Live Weather Center, here's meteorologist Gabe Maynor.
Thank you so much for keeping it with Mississippi Live at 5. We're getting a live look outside there in Tupelo, where sandwiched right between several showers, but the downtown area of Tupelo, oh man, words are hard tonight, has not gotten any rainfall. So the folks there at Mitchell, Cunningham, and Bowling giving you a dry view tonight, but dry coming out of Cost as it is 91 degrees, feeling like 106. So folks, stay plenty hydrated and please take frequent breaks from outside. The moment you go outside, you're going to want to come back in. That's how hot it is. Out in Crenshaw, a little bit of a different story. This is the blessing of afternoon showers on a summer day in Mississippi. 81 degrees? Now that's a winter's vacation compared to where we've been at. 86 degrees for those feels like values. So go ahead and get outside, enjoy the rainfall, get the boots on, get the umbrella out, and enjoy what is a nice afternoon shower. But as for some of us, you might hear a few rumbles, but we're not expecting any severe weather throughout those afternoon plans. So church services going to be good to go. Just going to be toasty for a lot of us. 93 degrees Winona, 106 degrees those feels like values. So hey, over there in Crenshaw, honestly, one of the best regions here in North Mississippi when we're talking temperatures. And it's all thanks to that rain-cooled air. You can see all of those showers east of Highway 61 in parts of Tunica County, Bolivar County, and even there towards Panola County, seeing those stick around. So have the rain gear ready. That boundary right here along I-22 showing up as well with some of those heavier downpours. Now that's going to be closer to New Albany, so dropping those temperatures there. Closer to Saltillo and Guntown, right between that Highway 45 corridor between those two cities or two towns. So we'll be watching for that as well. Nonetheless, not going to be anything severe. Strike sitting at a whopping 69 so far tonight. So we could have some electricity in the sky, but overall, the heaviest downpour still out there towards Arkansas, just now working their way into Mississippi as we speak. Those rainfall totals now starting to get a little bit higher over those last couple of scans because, of course, the afternoon convective temperature has been reached, and that's allowing for some of those rainfall totals to climb. I mean, 1.27 inches just east there of West Helena and Tunica County. Shelby coming in with about 1.8 inches. I know I'm blocking it there, but that's a decent afternoon shower for sure. Closer to Yalobusha and Grenada County, 1.5 inches. And even here in northeast Lee County, closer to Moorville, we're about a half inch there. I guess it'll be closer to Manatachee right there. But nonetheless, half of an inch. And this is what I mean by, pretty isolated in regards to who's getting what rainfall. We just looked out of Tupelo. Look at Tupelo's rainfall totals. Trace amounts. Half an inch, just about what? Let's do the measurement real quick. 13 miles, and we could even go less than that. But nonetheless, these are very isolated as you go further towards the east. If you want better chances, that's going to be right along the Mississippi River, where some of those rainfall totals are amounting to 1 inch to 2 inches. That's what we're going to be monitoring into this evening, but still coverage not overly high. But the damage it's doing on temperatures is noticeable. 79 degrees in Tunica County, like we talked about just a moment ago. That's really seen through Panola County, up there towards Tate County as well. But 95 Clarksdale, 95 Greenwood, 91 Oxford. Surrounding areas still toasty. and still going to be heat indices in the triple digits. The rest of us still seeing 96 in Tupelo, 92 in Hamilton, 92 Louisville. Hey, Columbus, not bad, 89 degrees, but still pretty toasty. And when you show those feels like values, it really puts things into perspective as that 80 degrees stands out compared to 97 in Oxford, 102 New Albany, 101 Grenada, 114 Clarksdale. And as we work our way down Highway 61, we're seeing 114 in Hollandale as well. So that's why those extreme heat warnings were in effect and continue to be in effect into this evening as those heat indices remain on the higher side of things. So extreme heat warning, that's in place until 9 p.m. tonight for LaFleur, out there towards Bolivar, even up here towards Washington, Humphreys, Carroll, and Holmes and Grenada County. The rest of us under an excessive heat advisory, and that includes parts of Pontotoc, Tishomingo, up there towards DeSoto, Noxubee, Atala, Montgomery, and even towards Tallahatchie. What's the difference? Heat advisories are basically about 5 degrees less from those extreme heat warnings. So that's one thing that the National Weather Service is looking at tonight, is what areas need to be included in an advisory or a warning getting into tomorrow. Still going to be hot, but things should be a little bit better towards tomorrow as well. So if you're one of those areas that are in the triple digit for feels like values, then go ahead and get that ice cream as you head off towards those church plans. 90 degrees by 6, 84 by 8, so still pretty muggy and warm. So that's going to be enough to, as you wrap up those church plans, go grab you an ice cream cone or two. 79 degrees by 10, hey, that's still pretty warm in my book, but there is that small chance at some of that rain-cooled air, especially out there along the Mississippi River, and that's what we're looking at here. Futurecast keeping those chances along that frontal boundary. Like we mentioned, the front should be to our south, and that takes the bulk of the rain chances with it. But if this comes up even a county or two, then you could be looking at elevated chances towards Holmes, Atala, Winston, and Noxubee County. But those chances still pretty low. Our coverage really sitting around 10% or less overnight. So the vast majority of us still seeing those dry conditions prevail. And not just dry conditions, look at our Thursday morning commute. Should see plenty of sunshine. And this is going to be a beautiful day overall. Coverage really minimal on those rain chances. While yes, it doesn't bring that rain-cooled air, it allows you to do some things outside and not have to dodge rain chances. So there's a positive with both sides of the forecast for sure. 71 Boonville and Iuka, really feeling the effects of that cold front dragging to our south and bringing in that northerly air, which is a little bit cooler. That's why despite the sunny skies, temperatures are not overly toasty. We're 77 by 8, 90 by noon, 93 by 3, and I know we're counting down the last couple of days that we get to feature our pool day forecast brought to you by the folks there at IMPC. And then it transitions to school day. While it does rhyme, I know a lot of folks are not ready for it to be school just yet, but it is going to be a great time to get out the door for any of those school plans. I don't think anyone's starting on Thursday, but if you are a teacher, my wife is an example of that, where you have to get out Thursday, then that's going to be a beautiful day, beautiful morning commute, beautiful lunch plans, and even by the afternoon, the vast majority of us still seeing those mostly dry conditions. So get outside at some point during your day, not going to be overly miserable on the heat scale, and not going to see much in regards to any rainfall. So Thursday looking really good to get outside and enjoy some of those conditions. And if it's a student out there that may be starting on Friday, then Thursday is a golden opportunity to wrap up your summer on a high note, get outside and soak up that summer sun while you still can. High temperatures, 92 degrees New Albany and Oxford, 91 Boonville and Corinth, seeing 94 Amory and Houston, 94 Golden Triangle, 95 Greenwood and Greenville. So yes, it is still hot. Those heat indices in some spots up to heat advisory threshold, but not everybody. And that's why I said Thursday is a little bit of a step back that we get to enjoy. So if you're out in the Delta, it's still probably going to be some heat advisories in effect. But if you're up towards Tupelo, New Albany, South Haven, Holly Springs, not expecting heat advisories for you, as those feels like values remain below 105 degrees, and it should be a little bit more bearable during those afternoon plans. Continuing to track our Thursday night, you can see that chances of rainfall still pretty minimal. We're keeping it around 10% or less overnight there as well. And you see that frontal boundary just gradually creeping up there. That's not going to bring much in regards to rainfall, especially into the early hours of our Friday. But into our Friday afternoon, things will start to shift. We'll see that in just a moment. Let's first look at low temperatures, and this is about as good as you get. I know the Boonville Blue Devils are starting on Friday. 69 degrees to start is as good as it gets here in North Mississippi for this time of year. So starting the school year off on a high note, and shout out to all the students heading to school this week. We're going to want your first day of school pictures. Something we did last year was we had those submissions and we just featured them throughout all of the shows during our first days of school. So probably going to do that on Friday as well. We'll get a post up here over the next couple of days, so stay tuned for that. But it is going to be a comfortable start to the day, especially for late July moving into early August. So let's go ahead and track our Friday out. I told you that it's not going to be dry for the entirety of the day. Watch towards the afternoon. We have those partly cloudy skies, but you see convection building over there towards northeast Arkansas, and that will work its way into North Mississippi. Looking at this, I'm not seeing anything that's saying, hey, this is severe, but I do see some areas where you're talking heavy downpours, lightning, perhaps sub-severe gusts going to be a part of those, and that will gradually work its way along the boundary, adding to some of those rainfall totals, and this should be a pretty decent day to get some of those rain chances by our Friday afternoon and Friday evening. So starting out the day strong, middle of the day, you're still going to be dodging some rainfall, but that does keep temperatures pretty comfortable. So again, we're talking all things positive this broadcast, and every single element of our forecast has something positive attached to it. In this case, temperatures on Friday should be much better. And as we continue into our Saturday morning, you can see some of those showers and storms building along that cold front, those working their way into North Mississippi overnight and into the start of our weekend. One thing we'll be talking about later on tonight is that weekend forecast. So if you have any last second summer plans, we're going to have that latest forecast for you for your weekend coming up right here on Mississippi Live. 89 degrees Boonville, Iuka, and Corinth. That's not a bad temperature at all for your Friday. 91 Amory, 93 Water Valley, 94 Grenada, 96 Greenville. So I will say, towards the south and west going to be where your hot spot is. But if you're up towards the north and east, your chances do climb at some of those rain chances, and that's going to bring some of that rain-cooled air on top of those temperatures already being pulled back a little bit more. So this is if we stay dry through the day. You mix in any of that rainfall, these temperatures start to come down, including the feels-like values sitting at 108 Clarksdale and Cleveland, 107 Belzona, 102 Louisville and Starkville. So yes, still going to be hot and muggy, but some rain-cooled relief might be on the way for some of us on Friday. Saturday, Sunday, you can really see those temperatures step back. That's as rain chances start to climb a little bit more as well. And then the heat building back through our work week and our school week next week. And those heat indices kind of follow that same track. You see that break through the weekend and then gradually working its way back into the triple digits Tuesday and Wednesday. So while today was overly miserable, the next 7-day stretch should be a little bit better from where we're sitting at for our afternoon temperatures and afternoon feels like values on our Wednesday. As you track rain chances, we're 20% Friday. That might come up. We'll see how that trends here heading into our 9 and 10 o'clock broadcast. 30% Saturday, 20% Sunday, 20% by Monday, and keeping it 30% by Tuesday. So hit or miss showers remains the story getting into parts of next week. The rest of this week, the weekend, and parts of next week. We're going to be looking ahead to those rain chances on the weekend, as I know some folks are planning those last-second summer plans. If that's you, you'll want to tune in, and if that's not you, either way, it's still the weekend, and I know plans will be made, rain or shine. So we'll have the latest for you coming up on Mississippi Live at 6 and through your 9 and 10 o'clock broadcast as well. As long as you have that Mississippi Live weather app handy, you're all set and good to go. And our next broadcast is going to be at 6 o'clock right here from the Mississippi Live Weather Center. We'll have our Emily Leonard joining us, tracking what's going on here in North Mississippi, as well as looking at those hit or miss showers and the break from the heat that we're going to enjoy heading into the weekend. That all as Mississippi Live continues tonight at 6.
March 24th, 2023 was a normal Friday.